SCP-179, Object Class, Thaumiel. SCP-179 is a humanoid entity located at a constant distance of approximately 40,000 kilometers from the south polar region of the solar photosphere, locked to the rotation axis of Sol. However, it does not orbit it. The most recent recordings of SCP-179 indicate that it seems to maintain a continuous orbit around the center of the galaxy. Through the combined effort of 43 years of continuous surveying, the external appearance of SCP-179 has been defined as a human female of undetermined ethnic group of between 20 and 40 years of age. Its entire body surface is covered in or composed of a matte black material. Its hair appears to be composed of this material, measures over 34 kilometers long, and is constantly pushed away by solar wind. However, this part of SCP-179 seems to reflect variable amounts of sunlight, this reflection being the phenomena that indicated its existence to Foundation astrophysicists during 1940. Several markings or tattoos are placed throughout its body midline. Judging from their brightness, these markings might be of metallic composition and of a golden hue. These tattoos include several symbols that have been identified as those typically representing the Sun and 6 innermost planets of the solar system, according to medieval alchemy, including, in this order, the symbol of gold in the subject's forehead right underneath the hairline, the symbol of Mercury under the nose circling both lips, a symbol of copper between the medial ends of its clavicles, with the anatomically correct shape of a human heart, placed over the location where a heart would be in a female human of the same apparent age and bodily proportions. The symbol of iron in the upper abdominal region, the symbol of tin in the lower abdominal region, part of a final symbol in the pelvic region. While the anatomy of this region makes a clear observation difficult, it has been hypothesized that the symbol of lead is also present and complete in the perineum region. SCP-179 keeps its ventral side oriented towards Earth most of the time, but has been observed to look towards other areas on occasion. Administrative Warning: ES-026. As of SCP-179 has been reclassified Thaumiel. All involved personnel with a clearance level below 4-179 will be either promoted or reassigned to fit this new classification, depending on their relevance for the continuated surveillance and cover-up operations as directed by the current head researcher for SCP-179. All reassigned personnel will be subject to Polymath 08 memory redaction therapy or D-class amnestics in a high-dosage grade with a maximum retrograde effect of 10 years of experience, depending on the time spent working in SCP-179 prior to its reclassification. SCP-179's existence will be subject to an orbital misinformation standardized intelligence obstruction and neutralization campaign. As per Emission Protocol 4, Items 4.5, 4.6, and 4.7, most documentation related to SCP-179 has been classified Level 4 Top Secret. Any further data related to SCP-179 has been classified Level 5 Thaumiel and will be made available only to authorized 5-179 personnel. Be advised that unauthorized access to SCP-179 research materials will be considered a Type 3B offense. Unauthorized data management while lacking appropriate global clearance, punishable by compulsory memory redaction therapy with immediate reassignment and/or demotion. Warning: unauthorized personnel will be exposed to a mimetic defense agent. Generating mimetic defense. Gestalt Obrator active. SCP-179 is sensitive to all radiation in the electromagnetic spectrum, intelligent and able to communicate through multiple anomalous means, including but not limited to radio and laser communications interference. Only one instance of SCP-179 communication with Foundation personnel has occurred thus far, where SCP-179 proved to be fluent in French. As this contact did not result in a clear statement of SCP-179's intentions toward the Foundation and its mission, all efforts must be made to prevent contact by any known groups of interest with SCP-179. Misinformation operations and other preemptive measures have been deployed. Most recorded movements performed by SCP-179 have been related to extraterrestrial threats, both anomalous or non-anomalous in nature, on a collision or orbital insertion course with the Earth. These threatening items have been identified as capable of causing CK-class reconfiguration events of diverse impact on human societies and earthly life in general if allowed to reach Earth. If impact with Earth or orbital insertion occurs without proper response and containment by Foundation operatives, these items of interest may be capable of causing XK-class end-of-the-world scenarios. SCP-179 will usually address an item or items of interest by pointing at them with an arm, and when more than one item of interest is present, will be able to generate additional limbs anatomically identical to its arms, as needed. Survey data indicates that SCP-179 performs other motions specific to each item of interest addressed, such as raising different fingers or moving its arms in an array of as-of-yet undecipherable patterns at fixed intervals. But whether these motions contain any information or not has not been determined to date. The limits of SCP-179's detection capacities have not been clearly ascertained. While SCP-179 has been able to detect potentially harmful objects beyond the trans-Neptunian region, those threats have been detected by other surveillance and exploration systems, usually under Foundation control, or in at least 3 separate instances were visible to the naked eye from Earth. However, they had not been immediately recognized as threats. It has been hypothesized that SCP-179 may only detect and react to active threats that remain detectable to other observing parties without the cis-Neptunian region, while being able to unerringly determine their harmful nature. All items of interest approaching Earth within cis-Neptunian space that had considerable destructive capacity have been detected by SCP-179 without failure, often when known observers known to the Foundation were aware of them. As such, SCP-179 and all personnel, orbital equipment, and facilities dedicated to its surveillance remain the most reliable early warning system the Foundation possesses to detect and, when possible, prevent potentially dangerous incursions within a surveyed space. SCP-179 is able to determine which interplanetary objects pose a threat to Earth, humankind, or the earthly biosphere, which makes it a critical asset for the Composite Orbital Early Warning System project of the Foundation, which currently involves SCP, and SCP XCPOA 003 to 042, Site 34, Site 103, Site 98, Area 08, Sites, and Command Site, as well as several personnel embedded within different space agencies and international consortia related to space exploration. All data of interest related to or obtained through SCP-179 will be marked COEWS-179, which will be considered high-priority information to all Foundation departments. Addendum SCP-179-01 Notable movements of SCP-179. December 13, 1940. First recorded movement of SCP-179. The entity that had remained with both arms crossed raises an arm towards a previously undetected interplanetary object on a collision course with Earth. after its impact in an event that damaged the city of extensively with large quantities of an anomalous mucus secretion and left more than 1,300 dead, which, combined with the anomalous phenomena related to remaining central item reclassified SCP-179 returned to its original position. September 22, 1942. Sixth recorded movement of SCP-179. Entity raises an arm towards on a collision course with Earth. Item of interest crashes nearby Auckland, New Zealand on October 4th, 1942. Item separates upon impact into several devices of mechanical nature. Recently formed sub-entities with minimal civilian casualties. Once Foundation operatives contain the item proper, which is reclassified. In terminating most sub-entities, SCP-179 returns to its original position. Mobile Task Forces proceeds to track and destroy all remaining sub-entities. 19. 18th recorded movement of SCP-179. The entity raises its right arm towards up to this date. The entity has kept one of its primary arms shifting from one to the other as necessary, pointing in the same direction. March 1st, 1949. 23rd recorded movement of SCP-179. The entity raises an arm towards an Amor-class asteroid that has adopted a collision course with Earth. Foundation uses a combination of several SCP objects to launch a remote-controlled interplanetary vehicle that acts as a gravitatory tow line. This mission is announced a success on May 3rd, 1951. At this time, SCP-179 returns to its original position. Note: surveying elements observed that the entity performed a motion that could have been a nod. Reclassification request to Euclid status filed and denied. December 13th, 1998. 403rd recorded movement of SCP-179. The entity stops watching the Earth for 2 days and 13 hours. When it looked towards the Jovian system. Once this interval is over, SCP-179 looks at Earth again. September 9th, 2002. 487th recorded movement of SCP-179. SCP-179 points an arm at an armed Type 11 dimensional weapon. Launch from Area 08 to test SCP-179's detection capacities. Item remains in a prime configuration for minutes. Ready to be launched at a test location on Earth. It is not identified by SCP-179 until it is 3,670 kilometers above the Earth's surface, when SCP-179 reacts to it as a threat and points at it. Device subsequently reconfigured to a standby configuration and redirected towards its primary target. Still in transit from the Kuiper Belt. SCP-179 returns to its previous position. October 16, 2003. Contact with SCP-179 is achieved via the -2 probe. Subsequent movement registered in Addendum SCP-179-02. SCP-179 reclassified Thaumeo. See Addendum SCP-179-02. Addendum SCP-179-02. Events of October 16, 2003. SCP-179 was first approached by the -2 probe, a microsatellite equipped with multiple recording, analysis, and communications devices incorporated into the probe in a clandestine operation. The probe acted as a relay for the -2 probe and Foundation mission control. Contact and communication with the entity were not foreseen nor programmed. When visual contact with SCP-179 was established, obtaining an unprecedentedly clear, very high-resolution image of its surface, the entity begins to move its lips, forming the phonemes of a greeting in spoken French. Footnotes 1. Experimental Foundation Orbital Assets, XCPOA. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-179 remains beyond the reach of currently known groups of interest, including the Foundation. All containment efforts are to be focused towards a Grade 3 emission cover-up, coupled with the discouragement or sabotage of exploration and research missions that attempt to study Mercurian space and orbits that go through it.